Hey Apartment Therapy, my name's Gretchen, and this is my 615 square foot apartment in Portland, Oregon. In this 615 square foot place, you walk in through the front door into this big, great room. There's these two awesome big windows and then a door smack dab in the middle. So they kind of force me to put the couch here facing the TV and then have dining area behind me, but it's worked out really well, and having the couch floating like this actually carves out a little entry space through my apartment. And through the front door leads directly through a really tiny hallway that leads to my bathroom. And then opposite my bathroom is the kitchen. And then opposite the other side of the bathroom is my bedroom. It's a pretty straightforward layout, very square and small, but there was just enough big spaces and just enough small spaces to really give me that design challenge I kind of crave. So now we're in my kitchen, and this was definitely priority number one for me when I was designing this space. And that's because it had pretty much nothing in it when I moved in. So across from me, there are these beautiful vintage 1920s built-ins that are original to the apartment, and there's just a lot of charm over here. And so I was really kind of inspired by this look of the kitchen to complete the rest of the kitchen. This built-in was here when I moved in. I relied on this built-in to kind of help me design this peninsula island piece. I was really looking for something that was going to be the same width as this built-in, so that again it just really felt like it was one continuous piece. So I built this originally just to have extra storage, but I wanted it to serve more than one purpose if possible. So like on this side, we have hanging cutting boards, but on this side, inside of the cabinets, I store all my office supplies. So it's really become this divider, again, kind of like my couches in my living room, of this workstation and that workstation. I love how this worked out. I hung the shelf over here to be the same height, so it sort of creates another little L-shaped desk and brings you into the office space. And then to really separate the space some more, I took the opportunity to add some more fabric wallpaper. This is a vintage dress that my mom made, and I just hated how it looked on me, but I loved the fabric. So I cut it up and sort of pasted it together so it would be continuous. It's totally removable. It's not going to leave any marks. So when I move out of here, I can just take it down with me. So the living room is sort of created with the couch separating this space from the dining space. And that provided a really cozy area to watch TV, chat with my friends. I'm a big chair collector, and somehow I keep finding these awesome vintage chairs. I have a fan favorite blue corner chair that I got for $20 off of Facebook Marketplace, and it's the comfiest, coziest, coolest chair I've ever owned, and it's worth a whole lot more. So this lamp over here above my blue chair was another thrifted find. It's this gorgeous lantern-like piece made from lapis shell, and it's one of many in my collection of lamps and lighting sources. This apartment didn't really come with the best lighting. It didn't come with any overhead lighting, which is honestly a good thing, but it's made me need to get creative around how I'm going to sort of give this space the ambiance it deserves. So lighting has really been a major joy for me in this space to figure out. In terms of organization in this space, you know, I have a really beautiful credenza that stores a lot of my electronics and books, things like that. But I like to sort of thoughtfully hide a lot of that inside of baskets or pots even. You know, I kind of like to tuck away the unsightly things and spruce it up with something vintage or stylish. There's also a lot of, you know, my heritage in here, I guess, or my family. In this main wall space, this gallery wall behind my TV, it's a lot of my mom's art that she did in college, as well as some art I got to do when I was visiting Joshua Tree. So one of my favorite pieces is this little etagere. It works as a little entryway sort of catch-all space. I can drop my keys there, I can drop my wallet there, my sunglasses, everything I need to just kind of grab and go. And it's just been really fun to build out this space, treat it like a blank canvas. And there's been lots of tweaks along the way until it felt just right. And it's functional, but it's beautiful, and it's vintage, and it's eclectic, and it's got a lot of stuff in it, but I like stuff. So it works for me. Now we're in my dining room. This is a space that honestly has been a labor of love trying to find the right set of furniture. This dining set I found for free in someone's grandma's garage, and these chairs remind me of like safety pins, or they're just a really funky shape, and I'm really drawn to that look. I wanted a round table so that when I have friends over, it's a little bit more convenient to play games, chat with each other, eat together, and this is a good size table for this space. So this dining light is another one of my favorite things in the space. I made it super functional by adding a Lazy Susan to the base, and then just with a little kick of my foot, I can swing it from being an overhead dining light to some nice ambiance over in the living room area. So that's been a really useful addition to the space, especially when there's no overhead lighting in here. And it's another really beautifully diffused light that I got at IKEA. So it looks cool, and it didn't cost me much. I've also carved out a couple other little spaces behind me. Obviously, my closet is where I keep most of my clothes, but the double doors open up, and so I kind of wanted to make that feel like it was another functional space. So I added a fold-down ironing board, a fold-down drying rack, so it's both my closet and sort of my laundry room. And then over here I have my little reading nook. Sometimes I like to bring my coffee or a book over here and just cozy up in this fun chair that I got for free. And I love the shape of it. It's super unique and weird and totally me. And I have it sort of tucked in by this cute built-in where I keep more of my clothes, a lot of my jewelry. I found this wonderful vintage mirror that again mimics that shape that I really love. And so there's sort of a theme going on over here. And then in this corner by my coat closet with the moon on the door, it's more my sort of dining linens. There's napkins and things in that little table over there. But it's also a moment to display some nostalgic, personal pieces that to me tell a story that I love looking at every day. I love being reminded of my family and our history. And thankfully, it kind of fits with my vintage style in here. So this credenza sitting over here under this great big window is both a beautiful piece that I like to style the top of with different plants or vintage finds, but the inner contents of the credenza are really more about functionality. I installed like an eye hook, hammock hook situation in my extra large front door area so that I can hang this little outdoor hammock and have like an indoor-outdoor hangout space. So it's just a little hammock chair that fits just this girl. And I like to sit there and read, sit there and work. So this is my bedroom. Behind me is one of many different fabric wallpaper accent walls in the space. I really kind of got obsessed with using fabric as wallpaper, and this was one of the last spaces I added it to. So this fabric here, I think, is from Goodwill, and I just needed to source enough of it. I didn't have enough to do the whole wall, so I kind of just decided to do this little corner and let that lead the design. So it's now kind of this anchor for my dresser and one of my many mirrors in the space. Over on this wall is another choice I made that this used to be my headboard back when my bed was on this side of the room. It was sort of a harvest gold color before, and I painted it a baby puke green because that's one of my favorite colors. Moving my bed over here really opened up the space a lot more. Another sort of theme, a trend in here is my use of mirrors. So there's one behind me, there's one across from me. The mirror in this corner over here functions as a full-length outfit checking mirror, but I put it on hinges and attached it to the framing of my window here. so that it would move like a door, and I could use the back of it as hat storage, purse storage, extras to kind of hide and tuck away. In the corner here, I have one of my closets. In this one, I tend to just keep dresses in here, longer hanging items. I'll keep some purses and hats up top in some shelves that I added up there to give it a little bit more storage. And then I also added an IKEA drawer unit that pulls out, and it has my socks, my swimsuits, my unmentionables, things like that. I've made some weird choices in here. I have this like pipe that holds a hat and sometimes holds some hanging clothes. I just really like to experiment and kind of throw up whatever I want on the walls and play with it until I like looking at it, like waking up to it. And I have to say, I really enjoy this space as it is right now. This is my little hallway, emphasis on little. It's kind of its own little area, so I wanted to have some fun with it. I added that DIY trash can light, and before that it was another one of my fabric wallpaper projects, but this time I put it up on the ceiling. It kind of looks like a tapestry. I adhered it to a little cardboard template, so it was a lot easier to wallpaper this template and then hang that up on the wall. But the wallpaper paired with the pendant light is just this really fun moment to look up to in this really small space. Then in my bathroom, an even smaller space, was really a challenge to make work for me. It came with a little tiny pedestal sink and a vintage built-in medicine cabinet, and then just sort of this blank space next to it. I hit up my father and I told him I had a design for him that I needed some help building, so he sort of fashioned this table from some old wood he had in the garage. It sort of acts as a counter space, an extension of the sink, if you will. Home to me is everything. I really feel like home is where the art is. This was my blank canvas that I could just sort of go wild with. And I think the best part about art is the experimental process and just trying out new things. Everything that is in my home, for the most part, has been built in my tiny apartment. It's been really fun to create in the space, to bring a lot of my pieces to life in the space, and then have them live here and function how I imagine them to. I spend a lot of time in my home. I work from home. I refinish furniture from home. I really do live in this space, and I love living in this space because it feels good to me.